I am now in the mode where I cannot get enough of Commanders content. And I don't mean like the team name as much as this organization. All of the coverage is positive. All of the coverage makes you feel good. I got a text from a buddy today. I'm going to read it. This is the kind of text I'm sure you're getting. A lot of us are getting from people. How great is it having excitement back in the Commanders? He then says in parentheses, I hate that being good is going to lead to the name being permanent.
Yep.
Then he says, I haven't been this fired up in a long time. It's been so much fun listening to you guys, consuming all of the media. It feels like a total Twilight Zone and not remotely real. He goes on to say more. Tell me that doesn't describe how you're feeling. This is just today, Danny. The Jaden Daniels to Terry McLaurin touchdown pass to put the game on us against the Bengals. The football he threw, the actual piece of pigskin that he threw, the leather. The Hall of Fame now has it on display. The Hall of Fame just an hour ago posted that football is now on display because it was a historical performance in terms of completion percentage for a rookie in prime time. So they have that ball right now in Canton. That would happen today. CNN, not ESPN, not FSN, CNN, the news network, did a segment today in the 11 o'clock hour on the upstart Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels.
The hottest team in the league right now. That was what the Chiron said.
Daniels has been named team captain for the first time. Sam Cosmi, in a video the team put out of him mic'd up. I thought this was great. You can check my Twitter at Grant H. Paulson. You want to see the actual video. But he's talking to Andrew Wiley on the bench. Daniels comes through, daps them all up, like, keep going, boys, keep going. Wiley looks over at Cosmi with a big smile, and Cosmi goes, it's nice to have 5, meaning Jaden Daniels. Wiley goes, hell yeah. And then Cosmi goes on to tell him how he's having fun for the first time. I mean, that was the mic'd up stuff that the team put out. Like, how fun is this?
So it's a combo of two things. One, I'm enjoying the ride, and everybody should be. The second part is I feel, and this is always so hard, I feel like the team, and I'm not in the locker room. I'm not sampling or speaking to 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 players or anything like that. But it does feel to me from far away outside looking in like they're handling this the right way. In other words, what would always happen, I would always, like they were good, but the rare times they would have a fleeting moment of success.
Every season when they started 3-1.
Or something, right? Like, they're 2-0 coming back from Denver. And here comes Ron Rivera puffing out his chest. Here come players talking about this is what we knew we were capable of, or this and that. And like, how good are we? There was that vibe as if, yeah, we've arrived. You idiots who don't trust us yet, who've been suffering for 3+ decades under the yoke of this terrible owner who's a buffoon at best, a tyrant at worst. You guys don't get it. We're good. We're for real. We've arrived. And then that letdown subsequently always felt worse. These guys, it sounds like, understand. All you've done is put yourself in a nice position. There's so much work.
So we were talking about this yesterday after the Biotish interview. This week we've had, on Monday, we had Luke McCaffrey, who was great. On Tuesday, we had Austin Eckler, who's our weekly guest, who's always fantastic. And then on Thursday, yesterday, we had Tyler Biotish, the starting center, on. And all 3 of those interviews left you and I feeling the exact same way, what you were just referring to. But after Biotish, we were talking yesterday, and I said, it doesn't feel like they're excited about their start.
Right.
And I'm sure they are, to be clear.
Yeah.
But you would not know from any of these interviews that they are 3-1 and have the offense that everybody is talking about and have the quarterback that everyone's falling in love with. They're operating as if they haven't done anything yet. I think that's so important.
I do too. And, part of that is I kind of roll my eyes, not at you, but I roll my eyes a little bit where, because everyone's enamored and happy with this coaching staff right now, and they should be, by the way, it's not a complaint, but simply saying, oh, what an awesome decision just to stay on the road. It's a business trip. Like, I've heard gimmicky things like that before, where Terry Rabisky had his guys wear fatigues on the plane and they lost by 50. We've done some of these sorts of deals before with the hokey language and a slogan, or be where your feet are, or find my due north, or arrive violently to the north, whatever the different things are. But there is something to be said for establishing that kind of culture that does seem to be happening, where, okay, that's great. You're 3-1. That's awesome. The season has not ended. There's so much work to be done. Embrace that, acknowledge that. Happy you're 3-1. You should be pleased with your performance. You should be pleased at what's happening. We should all be thrilled and excited. But I know how to say it better than this, but one of my complaints always with Chase Young for example, was he would do something good, and it was I've arrived. It's over. Like the debate is over.
Told
the jury's
you so.
out. Told you. And it's like, okay, thanks. But there's a whole next layer to it where what are you adding? What else are you doing? And it never really materialized that way. And I'm not trying to pick on the guy. I'm just simply saying that to me felt like it was an attitude that came from the organization as well, where they would put one foot in front of the other and wait for their parade, wait for the congratulations. Remember how angry they were internally that Scott McCloughan was getting a lot of credit for an 8-7-1 season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody throwing a parade for that, dude.
We don't need to re-legislate staying out in Phoenix, but I do think it's a lot different than all the other things you just mentioned. It's not a slogan on a T-shirt. It's not one of these cutesy things. There was actual legitimate money spent.
Oh, for sure.
To try to
be
better.
I didn't mean to knock it. I was trying to offer an example.
Sure,
you're right.
But,
you're right. No, it's
like,
important to say.
To me, that's a big deal that ownership said,
yes.
So we're going to cost ourselves a lot of money, but you think this gives us a better chance directly to win more football games?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, no problem. And I just think it's kind of common sense that they didn't come back here. They got more sleep. They were fresher. The injured guys that had a chance to play that were banged up played, and it worked out. So giving them their roses for that. But again, that was last week. We're on to the next, and we're on to Cleveland.
No.
Danny, a real-life chance at 4-1 through 5 games. This is going to be the dumbest thing I say all day.
Oh, I like it.
All right. This will be if you take this quote, if Lou DiPietro, who writes all the stories about our show on thefandc.com,
Louis Deeps,
if he just makes this the headline and then the story is what I'm about to say, it'll be the dumbest story that anyone's ever written.
I like this.
There is a big difference between 3-1 and 4-1.
Let me write that down. Give me 1 second. Open up.
Now, I don't want Lou to write that up.
I want to make sure I quote you right. There is a
3-1 happens plenty.
Big.
Not around here,
difference.
But for a lot of teams, 3-1 does happen. 4-1 means you got to really screw some things up to not be in good shape. 4-1 means at a 70+% clip, you got a chance to go to the playoffs. 4-1 happened in 2008 under Jim Zorn. They were 6-2 and they missed out. Very, very different thing with a different coaching staff that wasn't as good and a different quarterback situation that wasn't as good. But that was the last time and the only time, by the way, in the 2000s. 4-1 happened in 99. That's my favorite Redskins team ever. And 4-1 happened in 1996. 3 times since I was about 6 years old, they have been 3-1 to start a 4-1 rather to start a football season. The difference between 3-1 and 4-1 is more than just a number.
So I tweeted this out. I'm tweeting out right now at Funny Danny. A really important quote just now from Grant Paulson that I think is really profound. He said, and I quote, "There is a big difference between 3-1 and 4-1."
I think
that's the way to put it.
That's pretty much what I said.
That is the summary.
That's the transcript.
Yeah, I think that's shtick aside, my friend. You're 100% right, because 3-1 is a nice start. 4-1's a thing. I don't know why, but it is. Does that make sense?
Bad teams don't get to 4-1.
Yeah.
Okay teams don't get to 4-1. You know who goes 4-1? Good teams.
Now, Seattle's a bad example because I think they're decent, but hang with me. Their first 3 games, they won them. They deserve credit for winning them. They played 3 mediocre to poor teams. They're 3-0. Let's say they got their brains beat in by Detroit. They did. It was a good game, but let's say they did. You go, okay, yeah, they're 3-1, but with Washington, if they lose this Sunday against Cleveland, you can go, okay, they were 3-1, but, right? You got to take that away now. A 4-1 team, I feel like, I don't know why, but maybe there was some symmetry back in the day with 16 games and that being the quarter pole. Maybe there's something to that, but you get past kind of the intro. You get past the weirdness of how the offseason plays out. You get past the new sort of paradigm of no one plays in the preseason, and you now throw out a quarter of the sample that we have so far because the first week is so fluky and weird. You get to 4-1, it feels different. It feels like you've just gotten yourself clear of the nonsense below. There's a lot of teams that are 2-2. A lot of teams are 1-3. Several teams are 3-1. And now you're all of a sudden you're clear of the trash. You're clear of that middle bucket that you've been in at best for 30+ years. I buy that.
If they get to 4-1 this weekend, in addition to the difference between the quality often of the team that's 3-1 and 4-1 that I was just kind of drawing, you've also got the fact that it will be a pretty obvious hurdle that anyone who's been around here understands. This is the letdown game. This is the regression that so often the team that you start to buy in on has, where the bottom falls out a little bit. Everybody thinks the Commanders are going to beat the Browns. Cleveland has as bad a money situation as in the NFL right now. They're spending the most cash this year. They are the oldest team this year, and by way of DVOA, they are the worst team in football right now at 32. I mean, it's a terrible situation with a quarterback who is both unlikable for the most part and who has played badly, right? They're coming to your building. They can't move the ball. They can't score. They haven't gotten to 20 in a game. You're busy hanging 40 the last couple of weeks. This is a game Washington should win, as evidenced by the fact that they're favored, as evidenced by the fact that some sport books this week, some sports books have the most leverage out against Washington. That is the most bet on team by the public. This screams letdown situation coming back home in front of the home crowd. If they handle their business, go beat the Browns and get to 4-1, and at that point you're 2-0 at home. Oh, by the way, you're 4-1 through 5. You are sitting pretty in a division that people as of next week will be predicting you to win. That's where we're at.
Yeah, that's all on the line. And I will say this, you mentioned the home part of it, and this probably isn't fair. I'm going to say this right now. It's probably not fair. But what's happened so many times is whether it's, hey, this is a big game at Nubs Field. This is a big game at the X, and it's gone poorly. And so the fan that spent his hard-earned Skrilla, the opt-in guy, not the tailgate Ted's in the world. He's there, rain or shine. You know, he's like the post office, right? The mailman. He's there no matter what. But for everyone else, it goes, you know what? I'm going to buy in. I'm going to believe. And they get smacked in the face time after time after time after time. This is how you build something. Not necessarily, obviously it's easy to say. You win a bunch of games, people are happy. But you sell the individual ticket to the individual person, and they go to the game, have a nice time, see a W, beat a team that you should beat, and have a blast doing it. You've now built some fans. You've now built some people whose buy-in was rewarded. That was the problem for so many years. The expectations were never met. The buy-in was rewarded with pain at best, inconvenience, and indignity. You don't do that to people enough times in a row. Now you got something.
I've got the Commanders handling their business. I think they are going to win. I don't really know where this is going yet, and I can't say that I feel like in the end they're going to be a playoff team that makes some run. I'm not there yet. But I was really confident that they'd go to Arizona and beat the Cardinals from Cincinnati. I'm now very confident that they beat the Browns. And maybe it's easy to get there when the last thing you saw going into the Arizona game was the clinic they put on against the Bengals. And the last thing I saw going into the Browns game now was the clinic that they put on against the Cardinals. I think they win. I think they're 4-1. And I think next week, I'm all the way bought in on this being not only the ascending program that it's been pretty clear it's been the last couple of weeks, but this is a real, legitimate football team that people don't want to play. It's going to take another week of protecting the quarterback at a level that I didn't really see coming. It's going to take another week of Daniels protecting the football, frankly. Him continuing to be a passer, wanting to be in the pocket more than run, which has certainly been the case the last couple of weeks. But I've come around on the fact that I think this team's actually pretty good. And I've been down on the Cowboys since the summer. I've been down on the Eagles since the summer. I just assumed those teams would both be around 10 wins and Washington would be around 8. Not anymore. Not if you're 4-1. If they beat the Browns next week, I'm going to be willing to start having a conversation about this being a division champion type team.
Yeah, because it all puts it on the table. Again, we kind of went through the math. And the when it comes to math and records and winning percentage and stuff, I always harken back to 2019. The point that you and I were making then was the season is not over at 19-31. They've not played well. They've been injured. They've dealt with some adversity. But you're backing yourself into a corner. You have to do X in order to be a playoff team. Well, then they did X. They literally
X
did
meaning it. Just you're the winning percentage the rest
of
the way.
You got to go whatever it was, 620 ball the rest of the way, and that's what a 100-win team does.
Right.
And then that's exactly
Flip
what
side
they did.
now is if you're 4-1, you've got to go 6-6,
and you win 10 games.
To go 10-7.
Yeah. And if you're if that's 6.5 and 5.5, if that swings your way, just so happens the field goal goes in or it doesn't, you recover the fumble, you don't. If you win 7 more games, that's your first 11-win season in 30-plus years.
Right.
Just like that. By starting 4-1, you now can have those conversations, and it's not ridiculous.
And
it's not just drinking the Kool-Aid in April.
I've been trying to slow myself down because it's basically, as I kept saying, it was 6 good days of football, and it was actually 6 great days of football. It's really been 2 impressive weeks. it's a 4-week season, but the Bucs game wasn't, and the Giants' first half was bad and second half was good. So I kind of give them a C overall. But it's been 2 really good weeks. So I've tried to slow my roll a little bit, but even when I remind myself that Kingsbury offenses always get off to a great start and then cool, like the Dolphins of the last couple of years with McDaniel, even when I remind myself that there's going to be times when Daniels isn't playing at this level because it's just natural for a young quarterback, that they're going to be behind the chains, that they're going to turn the ball over, that they're going to commit penalties in the first 3 quarters. All these things that they have never done the last 2 weeks. I still come back to, I think this group has something cooking. You watch the mic'd up clip that they're putting out of different players and the whole brotherhood shtick that they're talking about. It almost doesn't matter like how good it truly is if they believe it is. And you're starting to see that too.